The video game world is a strange place. Sony always comes across as so confident, so cocky, and yet the things that they do behind closed doors right now are absolutely asinine and prove that they're very much afraid of what Microsoft has to offer. Yes, it's an ever-changing landscape. I was told many, many years ago that by now consoles would be a thing of the past and everybody would be streaming their games, and quite the opposite has happened. Consoles are more popular than ever. You can't even find them in stock anywhere, and as far as streaming, another one bites the dust. Not that I can say I'm upset about that, as I predicted that. Again, listen, the idea that we stream our music and that we stream TV and things like that for a flat fee is one thing, right? And that's what we do. If you pay for Spotify or whatever, it's a certain amount. If you pay for, Netflix or whatever, Disney Plus, it's a certain amount. And we don't own those, and there's no ownership expectations. When it comes to video games, it's a much more intimate kind of relationship because most of us are, used to owning our games. It's a one-to-one movement, so you're going to lose there right away, especially if it's a multiplayer game. And so I see a lot of people kind of react in a certain way when it comes to that, and I knew Stadia was going to fail big time, and people will point to xCloud being success. Look, 10 billion people playing it. That's not a big deal to me, especially since it's just an add-on perk that I've even tried it out, right? I would never game that way, and of course, obviously having a big screen TV, an OLED, and these consoles that can do like 120 frames in 4K and stuff. Why would I ever relegate myself to a 5-inch screen and terrible controls and latency issues and things like that, and the whole thing where there's billions of gamers that's corporate talk. They're looking to expand gaming as it is, but anyway, that's a little bit off topic. I want to talk about this because yes, Sony is showing how much they fear Microsoft, and this might come as a bit of a surprise to some people because they do seem confident a lot of the time, but again, things change in the video game industry. Things often change, and I just found this to be sort of hilarious, and I wanted to get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews. If you're watching my video, please leave a like on the video as it helps it to be seen, and I'm looking to get 100 likes on each of these videos, so that would be absolutely great if you guys could do that. It would be amazing. So again, this was very funny because PlayStation boss can't even be bothered to do a showcase of first-party games for his fans for the first time that I can ever remember. It looks like that's not going to happen. No summer game event whatsoever for PlayStation owners. But he finds time to fly to Brussels to voice concerns to the EU over Xbox's Activision deal. Obviously, this guy is full-on panic mode right now. PlayStation's bosses Jim Ryan reportedly flew to Brussels last month to meet with the European Union regulators currently scrutinizing Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard's. According to deal reporter sourced through a paywall, the Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO personally visited the EU headquarters on September 8th to voice the console rivals' concerns over the proposed almost $70 billion deal. As has been widely publicized in recent weeks, PlayStation's concerns over the deal are around the future release arrangements for Call of Duty series, which is regularly PlayStation's annual bestseller, but whether it will be pulled from their platforms. Google is said to have voiced concerns to EU regulators according to the same sources. Last month, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said Microsoft had committed to making Call of Duty available on PlayStation for several more years after Sony's current marketing deal with Activision expires. However, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan, who is reportedly seeking access to future Call of Duty games on equal terms and forever, responded publicly by calling Microsoft's proposal for keeping the series on PlayStation inadequate on many levels. Later that same month, Sony welcomed to the news that the UK competition regulator has launched an in-depth probe on Microsoft's deal. By giving Microsoft control of Activision games like Call of Duty, this deal would have major negative implication for gamers and the future of gaming industry, it's claimed. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality gaming experience, and we appreciate the CMA's focus on protecting gamers. The current Call of Duty deal between Sony and Activision is believed to cover Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and a new game from Black Ops developer Treyarch, which might not arrive until 2024. Which, once again, I've mentioned this several times, it means the earliest Microsoft would kick Sony to the curb would be 2028, and I think Call of Duty has steadily kind of lost some of its punch about what it used to be and what it used to be able to pull in on PlayStation and Xbox years ago. I mean, there was no competition 10 years ago. Now there's, Fortnite, there's PUBG, there's Apex Legends, there's so much going on that really it doesn't make sense to kind of whine and cry about this the way that they are. The latest report comes after Microsoft officially filed its case, which I covered already, for its proposed Activision acquisition with the European Commission. In a filing on the previous week, the European Competition Watchdog confirmed it has set a provisional deadline of November 8th to clear the deal or choose to enter a second, more detailed phase. Over the coming weeks, the European Commission will analyze the deal during what's called Phase 1 review. Now, there are some countries that have already sort of okayed this, but the thing for me is when it comes to this little bit of kind of information, I just find it to be a little bit frustrating because meanwhile Tencent is ramping up to go out and buy even more studios and bigger studios, and I realize that they aren't a first party or whatever, but I don't see why it would matter. And also Sony, the number one player in video games, has bought Bungie and a couple other studios and other things in the gaming industry, and part of the Dark Souls developer as well as Tencent. And again, nobody has said much of anything about that. So I find it to be very hypocritical, and the fact that these companies continue to push through deal after deal, and then when you look at what Microsoft is allowed to do, it's like, oh no, we can't allow that. And again, I think Microsoft's main idea behind this is that they want the mobile side of this. Yes, Call of Duty's big and Call of Duty's important and stuff like that, but I feel like that they really want the mobile side king and all that stuff, because that's a way to kind of get even more active users than what they're used to and what they've ever had before. So I think that this whole thing has gotten kind of way out of hand, and I do hope that we get some kind of ruling on this sooner rather than later, because it does seem like, to me anyway, that what we're seeing is Sony is showing their extreme fear over what Microsoft has to offer, and it's a little bit kind of redundant to me anyway, because as I've also stated, Jim Ryan's calling for content parity in perpetuity, which is basically means forever, and right now he's paying for non-content parity and for PlayStation to get exclusive content and exclusive modes and exclusive betas and all this kind of stuff with Call of Duty as it is. So laughable to me that that's the case. Also, if he's so much for the gamers, then why doesn't somebody step in and say, hey, let's release some Final Fantasy games on Xbox at the same exact time or whatever, you know what I mean? I think Microsoft has been more than generous. They could have bought their way out of the deals with like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo and things like that, but they chose not to. So, I mean, again, this is stuff that I find to be sort of interesting, to say the least, but at the same time, I feel like Jim Ryan's being a huge hypocrite, and the fact that he can't even keep his own fan base happy is sort of hilarious to me. And I'll never, this guy is kind of sleazy. Yes, I've had my problems with Phil Spencer, but at the same time, I think that Phil at least is a gamer and has gamers things at heart, and this guy has like I don't believe this guy has anybody's well-being at heart when it comes to gaming. Just my opinion though. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I will link this, you guys can check it out. Let me know what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe, rack them up, fact them up. As always, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, I really do appreciate it. Crap Gamer out.